Okay, welcome to Kick the Can podcast, episode 9. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Father's Day and being a father and a parent and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to share what I thought was kind of a funny a story anyway about my early days of being a father. And later on, one of my oldest friends will be joining us right here in the podcast studio in person. Stephen Albano, tons of stories, Hoffman Street, Mount Carmel. I think we were in the same class almost every year. So he's got a real good memory. He's going to be good. He's got all the stories, all the characters on the reservation of Hoffman Street. But first, I want to share a little something about Father's Day. It was just this past Sunday, and I noticed that my sons and his friends, they're all becoming fathers and parents, and the challenges that they have with childcare and the cost of it, and it's just I feel so bad for these kids. They find a way, they persevere, and I started to think back. Pretty much, I was pretty much in the same boat. I was just a regular working guy, and had the mortgage and got married later on. So I think I was like 39 when my son Luke was born. And then right after that, 2.5 years later, Matt was born in July of 95. So I know I've mentioned it previously that my mom had passed away on the same day that my son Luke was born, March 19th, 1993, St. Joseph's Day. So that's a story in itself about how you put together a wake and a newborn, and we were fortunate to have a lot of family around at that point because it was my mom's wake, and there were cousins and there were nurses. So Delinda had some good coverage that first week, 5 days or so when she came home from the hospital with Luke. I recall one of my mother's sisters stuck around, and so I remember just after all the dust settled, I pretty much went right back to work maybe a week later after the dust settled, and Delinda stayed at home with Luke. Pretty straightforward. Not much help for Delinda to learn as she goes. She had no mother, and her sister lived down in Jersey. So she got through it. A couple of years later, when Matt was born, July 12th, 1995. Same situation, really no help. So I stayed home from work. I think we came home with Matt maybe on a Saturday or a Friday. So I stayed home a week to 10 days and pretty much stayed in the house with a newborn and a 2-year-old. It was quite a learning curve for us. And like I said, you look back on it, nothing, you learn as you go. And you ask people, you have just enough help, people check in on you. But at the end of the day, it was just me and Delinda to get through these first few days. So inevitably, when you got 2 kids, you think you have everything covered, diapers, this, that. Sure enough, about 3 or 4 days in, I need to go out. I need to go out, and I made a stop at the food store, and then I was going to the drugstore. Now the drugstore was not a CVS. I don't even know if CVS was around like it is now on every corner. I went to the mom and pop drugstore on Tuckahoe Road in Yonkers, and as soon as I got in there, I knew the folks that worked there, and they says, Paul, somebody just called from your house. You need to go home, like right away. So me, I didn't just jump in my car. I still had to, get the diapers, get the bacitracin, whatever I was there for. And then under my breath, naturally, I'm mumbling, will you look at this? Can't go out for 5 minutes, 5 blocks away. What the heck, what's going on here? I was starting to figure my wife is going to be overwhelmed now once I go back to work with these 2 kids, which she was. Truthfully, she was. So, I hustled up the best I could. I got in the car. I went home. It was more than a 5-minute ride. I pull up in front of the house, ambulance in front of the house. So, actually, my tail was between my legs. Plus, now I'm hitting a level of worry that I don't ever recall. Ambulance in front of the house. I run into the house. The 2 paramedics, one is looking at Delinda, and one is looking at Matt, who's at this point maybe a week old. And it turned out that one of my wife's friends who lived close by happened to call, and Linda told her what happened, and she came right over. So my wife's friend was there, the paramedics, and the 2 kids, and my wife, naturally. So I go in. Seems like everything was okay. They got a big piece of gauze on the back of my wife's head. So she was alert. She says, and this is the story. It wasn't funny then. She was changing the newborn, Matt, actually, on the dining room table. She didn't go upstairs changing, table. She's changing Matt on the dining room table, and Matt decides he's going to urinate while he's got no diaper on. So Luke, who's right there by Delinda's side watching, he sees this. He doesn't know what to make of it. He starts vomiting right there on the floor in the dining room. So my wife, she puts Matt back together hastily. She turns around. She slips in the vomit. And down she goes. She cracks her head on the molding, like the molding that's where the floor meets the wall. She cracks her head on the corner of the molding. I think she might have even passed out for a little bit. We don't know. So it happened real quick. The phone must have rang. Lynn and George, they were there quick. They called 911. And I get there. So Delinda has a big gash on her head. Matt was fine, even though when she fell, my wife, Matt was in her arms. So nothing happened. They checked everybody out. They suggested that Delinda goes to the emergency room for stitches on her head in the ambulance. So apparently you go in the ambulance, you go right in, and you're good to go. Naturally, I would have to go with her. Nobody to watch my wife's friends weren't parents. They never had kids. You couldn't leave these 2 babies with them. Even though they helped, they were great, but we couldn't leave the kids with them. So we let the ambulance go, and we made some calls, cousins, neighbors. So a few people came over. I think it was my neighbor. She already had raised 4 grown children, and she still had a daughter that was probably mid-20s that still lived home. So they came over, and my cousin Edwina came over too. But naturally, a lot of time transpired, and Linda was holding the gauze to her head. And once we got everything situated at the house, we drove to Lawrence Hospital and went in the emergency room. And now you're taking a number. So, we figured just a couple of stitches. We were there a long time. It was a hot summer night, and you don't realize in these emergency rooms who's playing basketball, twist a knee, who's on a skateboard, who's riding a bike, fall down. Bottom line is the waiting room was packed. So we had to bite the bullet. We waited and waited. It seemed like forever. But once we got in there, it was pretty straightforward. They looked a couple of stitches, Delinda, and you'll be on your way. So they tell my wife, just going to be a second, we're going to shave your head around the cut. My wife, you would think they told her they're going to cut her head off. Froze like I never saw her like that. She was resistant. She didn't want to shave her head. I don't know if she grasped how much little they were going to shave. So calm down, get her going. She buys in. She gets her head shaved. We get the stitches finally, and we were out of there. So as we're talking about the events, at my expense, it became a funny story because I was the clown, didn't rush home, ambulance, and all of that. But we've tried to figure when they told my wife they were going to shave her head, she must have still been in the throes of maybe like a postpartum, or it was only 5 or 6 days since she gave birth. So maybe the hormones were going cockeyed or whatever. So that's what we attributed her throwing that scene in the emergency room and then finally getting the stitches and then going home. So it was naturally a day to remember, and Mother's Day, Father's Day, we got the handle of it. The kids are big now. We like to say they turned out good. I mentioned that we're grandparents now. My granddaughters are a year old. And so I graduated from a dad to a granddad. I had like a graduation on Father's Day this year. And that was pretty nice. And my son, he's a dad too. He's a husband dad, and he's doing great. We couldn't be more proud of him. And right, Matt, we're like, oh, who's this guy? He's a super husband, super dad. And those are just the little things that, it's when you see stuff like that, no Father's Day card could really relate to the experience of being a father. And, for me, it's on a double stick. I lost my dad early, and then there was a time where, listen, I was almost 40 and still no prospects. I could have been ever become a dad, let alone married. So on the flip, boy, it turns out really good for me. I'm super grateful. I just wanted to share that Father's Day stuff with me. I hope everybody had a good Father's Day. And then we're going to get Stephen Albano hooked up on the mic, and we'll be back in a little bit. We're back, Kick the Can Podcast, episode 9. And my long time friend, Stephen Albano, is joining me. We just briefly looked back on the many years of friends. Steve, welcome to the podcast. I know you were enjoying it. I'm so glad you're here in person. Our first in-person guest.
To be here.
And we're so excited.
I love it.
So, yeah, tell me real quick, tell everybody, I mean, sure, I'm your longtime buddy and you hear me talking on the podcast, so you enjoy that part of it. But your stories and tell me like your first impression of our friendship, of how you would describe it to anybody from the day one.
Well, we lived in the buildings, those 3 buildings. Everybody, there was so many kids in those 3 buildings.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to worry about anything. You came outside when you were young.
Yeah. All day.
You never had to worry.
Even our mothers would come down with the
chairs.
chairs.
They sat in front of Peter's.
Yeah. And there was a cast of characters in those 3 buildings. It was the only buildings on the block, right. And it was we're gonna really touch base on.
We drew a lot of people to that spot.
A lot of people.
Ronnie was on the hill. He came over. Louis was on the 8th. He came over.
Right. Googie too, from a few blocks away. Gary, when he hung around, he was over there.
We were just all attracted to it.
Yeah.
And
it was a perfect block for hanging around.
You're talking about 15 guys hanging out together.
Yeah. We would. So we were saying we turned 71. So now we figure we definitely know each other since we're 5 years old.
Yep.
And that's 65 years, and you can't take that for granted. There's no. I mean, other people could say, "Oh, I got a friend," but maybe it's the same, but it's not. It's not the same.
And all the mothers were friends.
Yep. And it's just me and you. Me, you, and Larry were right on that block.
Well, you just lived right across the hall.
Right, but you were in the next building. So when we came down, and remember the expression, go call on you?
We used to call for each other.
Nobody
wanted to call for you because crazy, man.
Yeah.
You didn't want to walk by the door.
Right. You had to run. You had to run past the crazy man's apartment.
I'm telling you. I remember when I walked to the hall with Robert.
Yeah.
And he banged on his door, and we ran, and he got out first. He held the door closed so I couldn't get out. Son of
So just to explain,
my God.
Crazy man, we don't even know his name.
He was, now that I think about it, the poor guy was in the war or something.
Right, right. He probably was with a shell shock.
He used to say things, we used to hear him say, I was surrounded by Japs. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So obviously he must have been in the war.
Yeah. And we would, so he would, when you came to my house, you had to go up one flight of steps. You would pick up speed
as you got
closer to his apartment. You'd pick up speed and angle your way up the steps, full speed ahead.
Yep.
Because crazy man. And meanwhile, at the end of the day, we never had an encounter with crazy man up close.
We made fun of everybody in the buildings. Nobody was left. We boarded everybody.
Every single
Every
person.
person.
So let's just give a quick. There was Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. I remember with Robert. We had those flags, construction flags outside, and the Roadrunner's walking, and Robbie goes with the flag. To you,
and here's the guy. He was probably our age, like 70.
No, he was old. That guy. That guy was old.
And we would see him coming down the street, could barely walk, had a cane. He slower than slow, like molasses walking. Took him forever. So, God forbid, we would carry his groceries or help him out. We just busted his balls. We would make believe we were a racing car. Or
we had Georgie Porgy.
Yeah. Another.
Why no you go to sleep?
Yeah.
We made a song about everything.
A song, right.
Why no you go? We sang about everything. We were always clapping. All my pictures were clapping.
You said.
Oh, a happy bunch, I guess.
You were some ball buster, though. You were top notch.
Everybody.
You had, there was somebody who was extra heavy. One of the people. Was it Senora or?
Senora que
some other woman.
There was
we would call her. You would call her. I guess.
Pasadena lady.
Yeah,
There was.
The balloon lady. She was so big.
Yeah.
So you would go to her, eat, because we would go, not in front of her face. See her come. It is balloon. It is balloon. So you would go right up to her, and go. It is.
Balloon.
It is. The one time she went, it is what? You go, it is balloon. And they stop, and we just laughing on the floor.
We laughed. We've made. It was just a fun time.
You talk about songs. How
Everything.
did we get that song? The paint is coming tonight.
That was the painter. He was
The paint-
painting, and I think Michael Labriola says, "When's the paint coming?" He says, "The paint is coming tonight." That's it. We started singing. The paint is coming tonight. Hey.
And it wasn't the song stayed there like for 5 years. We would remember the song.
Oh
You know.
my God! The songs, the clapping.
Senor.
We used to go,
Sausage.
Sausage.
That's like a quiz question. We could have a lot of quiz questions too when you talk to all the nicknames and ball busting to
Yep.
people.
Everybody. Nobody.
go
No
down.
stone was left on.
Another guy you were really good at busting balls was Leo.
Leo Chu. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that song, Wipeout?
Yep.
We used to go, ooh, you know, that song starts, ooh, Wipeout.
Right.
We used to go that, and we would go, White Spot.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't kill me. You see?
I'm telling you, man. Because, then he, later on, he wasn't on the block no more. He went from Leo
We went
to
hanging out with Patsy Pearl.
Right.
now.
He was in the weightlifting club,
Right,
and
right.
But then he became Lenny. So it's another guy that changed
Yeah.
his whole persona. And, and his father was the super of the two buildings, right? My building and his
Desiderio
building.
was his name.
Right. And we called him Megabot Crane.
Yeah. His name was John, actually.
Yeah.
And he was super of the two buildings.
Right.
And
we
Leo
would-
used to go with the glove, the monster glove.
Right.
And we would chase us through the alleys.
He would.
That one time when his father was in the alley, going down real slow, and I'm standing like this, and I didn't know. I thought it was Leo.
Yeah.
And he picked up a rock. He was going to skull me with it.
Yeah.
I realized.
Because we hung out in the hallways. We hung out in the cellars. But we didn't really.
Mr. B's.
Mr. B's. We didn't break anything. But, it's what we did. You hung out. And especially when it was cold. When it was cold out, you stayed
hung out in the halls.
hallways. And
It was nice out. We were in the park where we used to play baseball. That long.
In
park.
45.
We would sit on those windowsills.
Yep. Or how about walking around the whole edge of the school?
On the ledge.
Yeah,
oh
like-
my God, it's
Like
right.
not the guy that walks on the wire.
You gotta
like,
really walk around
Yeah.
the edge and you hold on to the wall.
leaning
Around the whole
back,
school.
Around the whole school. You stop at a windowsill.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then
that's
at
right.
one point, they put the gratings up.
Yeah. And then you couldn't do it no more.
Now you had to
I
jump
know.
off, but it had a little
That
bit
was
of a ledge.
That was a good time.
And you would go all the way around the school. Like what an accomplishment! And all you're doing is filling
it was
in time of the day, or just till the next thing comes along.
These kids, they don't know what they missed out on. I tell my daughter all the time, you just don't know what you missed out on. My son, I tell him the same thing.
There used to be, before the White Castle made that expansion, was there a place that sold like refrigerators and
Yeah, it
washing
was,
machines?
that's when they tore it all down.
Right. Before that, there was like an appliance store.
Appliance store, then there was a
Goodyear-
mechanic shop, McNaw.
McNaw.
Was there.
And the Goodyear was on the corner. They moved across the street on
Yeah.
Fordham. when
Goodyear was my father worked for Goodyear.
Right.
Goodyear was there, and then he moved across the street.
And a big score for us was when we were able to get a refrigerator box.
Oh yeah.
A full box.
Oh my God.
Right?
It was like a camp.
Better than going to the toy store.
Yep.
All day you're going to do something with that box. It's,
We did everything. Going to college, getting chestnuts,
Yeah.
putting a hole in them and holding with the string,
Right.
putting some shellac on it to make it
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. Cheating away.
How old's that chestnut? That thing's 100 years old.
Right. And then we used to bring them to school. They would take them away, the teachers, the
Yeah.
chestnuts.
Oh.
But we would wait. That was like in the fall when that tree in the Fordham University.
Yeah, they had the Seven Brothers or whatever it was
right.
called.
Seven Sisters or Seven Brothers.
Sisters, Seven Brothers. You sort of stick up, they come flying down.
Right. And he was coming that.
Now you can't even get into college.
No.
You cannot even get in there.
You gotta know. You have to need an ID badge.
Yeah, you can't get in there. You know, and then we used to go to, every Saturday we used to go for lunch. It was either in the Greeks, White Castle, you know, so.
Or Mimi's, get a sandwich.
Mimi's, get a sandwich with Skaza there.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy, sit on him.
Skaza worked for
No, he used to always be there. I don't think he worked there. He was just always there.
The painter guy was always there, too.
Yeah, my brother worked for him.
Oh, yeah.
Tony the painter.
Tony, yeah.
My brother worked for him. He gave him $10
Yeah, your
for a
brother.
week.
He was probably like 8 years old when he
My
hired him.
My brother, he was always there with us. He was,
Yeah.
you know?
Nobody his age, even though we had a good group
Right,
on the
he was
block.
always there.
The older guys, but our group was a lot of us, same age, and really nobody for your brother.
Yeah, but then he got friends, I guess, when he went to school.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a funny story. I don't know if you remember this. You and Larry came calling for me, right? Do you remember that black jacket he had? It was really wrinkled. It was a wrinkled.
Like a fake
It wasn't a leather. It was a fake
Plastic.
leather, but it was all wrinkled.
Yeah.
All right. He came calling for me one day. He comes up. He takes his jacket off. Now my cousin Peter lived with us.
Uh-huh.
He was getting ready to go out. He had this beautiful leather jacket hanging on the chair.
And Peter is Richie
So
and Drew,
Larry comes in.
Drew's older brother. Peter.
Peter,
Drew,
Richie's brother.
older brother.
But yeah, and he lived with us.
Gotcha, right.
Okay, so Larry takes his jacket off, puts it over Peter's jacket. Peter comes to walk out of the room. He goes, "Oh my God, what happened to my jacket? Oh my God!" I said, "Calm down." It was Larry's wrinkled jacket.
Plastic.
He thought something happened to it.
Yeah.
Funny shit.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
How we lived. I mean, you lived apartment 15.
Yeah,
It was the same as apartment 10.
they were all the same.
Same layout. And you guys squished yourselves in there. Your brother, your parents. Pete
My
didn't
mother
stay
and
that
father,
long.
me and my brother and Peter.
And don't forget Frisky.
Frisky. Come on,
Don't
that dog got hit by a car and they
couldn't
kept
kill him.
He had his legs like this.
Right.
He had one eye.
He had 3 legs? Or
Yeah, 2 legs were like this.
Right.
And he had 1 eye. You put the dog out of its misery, my God.
They and he had to go down 3 flights of steps every time he had to
What
walk
dog? I
home.
know. Do you remember my sneakers? My father, who worked for Goodyear?
Yeah.
He used to I used to tell my father, I need new sneakers. Oh, forget that. He goes, give me those sneakers.
That's
Comes
classic.
home that night, and there's tires on my
Tire
soles.
treads.
I never got, everybody would say,
Yeah.
how many miles you get on those
Yeah.
sneakers?
Oh, no, see, hey, can you get me a pair?
You got snow tires for those sneakers?
They would go viral today.
I should have kept those things. That would have.
Yeah, we remember that.
Oh
Yeah,
my
your father,
God!
he was-
I'm telling
He
you.
wasn't getting sneakers if the tops were still good. If your toes weren't coming out and they still fit, you were getting a retreads
Yep.
with
The tops were out yet, and the bottoms were still good.
radial tires
Oh, my God.
on your feet.
We used to play with the Spalding. You can't even get a Spalding now.
Nah.
Off the point, 1. I remember Anthony Medalla, 1, 2, all day
Yeah.
counting.
Yeah. The little schoolyards, you make a game out of these little schoolyards, play, we like you said before, that long, skinny schoolyard, we played, we had the bases.
Me and you against Larry and Midget.
Right. One game at least every day,
Right.
and the foul ball was
All the
in
time.
the street, got to go get it. But you kill a whole day, just by doing
You had a Spalding.
Yeah.
You had
Wait,
fun.
no, did we play with a softball or
We played a softball,
softball?
but Spalding was out there.
Yeah, because you could play on the other part. You would the batter would be in front of you, and you would pitch from behind it, throw it against the building, and when the ball bounced back, the batter would hit it, and then you would count the bounces. Remember, single, double, triple, home run. Remember that?
Yep. You remember the 45
Oh, the best.
with
Summer.
Linda and Maureen?
Maureen and Mr. G and Bobby Cap.
Yep. We were in there so much. I mean,
We probably started going I would think 10 years old. Go in there when it was open. We used
Yeah.
to make the keychains, the bumper pool.
The keychains. I'm glad you put that up because
Arts and Click.
the arts and
Craft
crafts
room.
window is up on that
Right.
roof. We would go up there, get the keychains. My mother always left the windows open.
Yeah.
I would throw all the keychains into my mother's
Yeah.
window.
And then when we're on the roof, we can get the Spaldings that were there from
A
last
lot of
year.
Spaldings up there too. Oh my God.
And that was a thrill because you would sneak in on the window
Yeah,
of public
yeah.
school, and you're getting some Spalding balls, free.
Yep.
Don't forget.
Oh, my God.
Another big thing, I know you could reflect on this, opening the fire hydrant.
Oh my God. We opened it once, the fat side,
The bigger,
and Vitas got flooded. Or if you put the,
yeah,
just get the cans, cut
Yeah.
the bottom out, and hold
Yeah.
it up.
you make
Oh my God. We had so much fun with that fire hydrant.
when we flooded our Vitas, I remember
Oh my
she
God.
was screaming. That was a lot of water. we used to give it to her, because if we had to go from from Mr. B's to that other lot, I guess Dino,
Dino, that was
No,
that
where Larry used to live later
on
on.
the corner.
Bruno
Bruno.
and
Hey,
Mr.
Bruno.
B's, and Vita was right in between, so we would cut across. What did she sit by the window the whole time in the
Oh my
back,
God.
yelling and
Then
screaming?
you had Ed Torres.
Call the cops. Yeah,
Ed Torres, he had that lock.
yeah.
He used to put in that
It
little
was
garage.
a Studebaker lock,
Yeah, Studebaker lock.
mint condition.
Just barely fit in there.
Did he, and he never drove it. I don't think he wasn't commuting to
The
work
car,
with
the car
that
was
lock.
mint.
Beautiful
That car
car.
was mint.
And another thing about Ettoro's garage, there's 3 steps over there.
The 3 steps. If we sit in front of the building, if somebody yelled 3 steps, everybody charged to those 3 steps because they wanted
The top. 'Cause
Right.
You can sit
You know
with
what makes you
somebody
laugh?
else.
3 of us used to fit on the top step.
I was going to say 2 people.
2, at least 2.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3.
And then everybody would wiggle in
If me and you went over there, only one of us could fit on that top step.
if it's even still there.
No, they're not there.
Do you have any pictures of us on those steps? On
I got
Ettoro's?
pictures of us on the steps.
We got them on Ford and Bear steps. You got good
No,
ones.
I got a picture of me and Donna sitting on those steps. I got a picture of you, Gordon, Zekash.
Zekash's cousin was Gordon.
Yeah, and you're just sitting on the 3 steps.
Gordon.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, Zekash is coming. Zekash didn't come around that much.
He lived
But-
on the top floor.
Yeah, but I
in,
remember
the end
sometimes
building.
we'd go up to his apartment. His parents must have worked.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then what were we like?
He used to shoot cats for the bow and arrow from his window.
And Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And whatever happened to
I don't know
that
what
guy?
happened to him. Billy Perry. I don't know what happened to him either.
Yeah. There was he had an older brother, Billy Perry. They lived on my floor too, apartment 7.
Who did?
Billy Perry, right next to Larry.
I thought. No, wait a minute. I thought he lived on the ground floor.
Nope. They lived on the top floor. I mean, right
On
across
your
from
floor?
me, next to Magash. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. My God.
What did this guy ever do to us besides?
My gosh. I forgot about that one.
Who names these people? Oh my gosh.
We named these people.
Yeah. And they
And
stink.
Midget is the top floor.
Yeah.
The poor guy was punished all summer.
Right.
All summer.
He would get, in the winter, you never saw him. He would get out, he'd get paroled,
Yeah.
and before you know, he's
He'd
breaking
be outside
bottles.
playing. He watched us from the windows the whole
Yeah,
summer.
Yeah. And when his mother called him to come up when he fucked up, you knew you weren't going to see him.
He goes, see you, I'm getting up.
Because he would, and his mother, they were the top floor. Midget was a loud guy. He would be screaming, "Fuck you! I'm not coming up."
I
And
think
you-
I gave him that name.
Midget.
Yeah, I think I
Well,
think I did. I'm not,
he was, you know,
it stuck with him.
when I first got married, I saw him, I guess, down the neighborhood or Butchie's. He was a mailman.
Right,
So before I got married, he was around.
right.
So I invited him to the wedding. No show at the wedding.
Oh, shit.
He went down down to South Bronx or something to get either get some bip or something for the wedding, party drugs, gets arrested. His bottom line is he doesn't come to the wedding. Now he feels he got pinched for a stupid little thing. I don't think anything ever happened of it. But he felt so bad that he missed the wedding. So
He was mad that he missed the wedding?
yeah, like he let me down, you know.
Right.
So he comes, he goes, I want to come over now. About a year later, I already had my son. We had the house.
Right.
I said, all right, Midget, you come on over. It's no problem. Now, my wife, she doesn't know Midget from Ugats.
Right.
All she knows is Midget no show at the wedding. That's all she knows.
Yeah.
So now she's not a Midget fan. She doesn't see the humor in Midget, you know,
Yeah.
breaking bottles,
Yep.
busting balls. So Midget comes over. It was like around 8:30. We sit down, maybe watching a hockey game or something. He talks so loud.
Really?
Woke up the baby.
Oh, my
And
God.
he's a loud person. I think his hearing is fine. He's just loud. My wife, she put the kibosh on Midget. No more Midget.
And what happened? He moved to, what did he do? He moved to Arizona?
Arizona, yeah.
He's still there?
Yeah. Do you remember we called him and he picked
Yeah, I
up the
remember.
phone, had that
Right.
lunch?
Over at
Robert and-
Antonio's.
Robert and Anthony were
Right,
there,
right.
your brother and me and you.
Right.
And I just called Midget and he picked up. That was kind of a thrill to talk to him. Now, I have that same number. He's not picking up.
He's not
I'm
picking
leaving
up.
a message. I want to tell him about the podcast, you know?
Right.
Especially now we're talking about him. You know?
He was funny.
Yeah, he was like a part-time hanger.
You see that picture I sent you with Frankie, Robert, and Midget? How tall Frankie was?
We put it on.
I know. I said,
yeah.
look how tall Frankie is.
Frankie was heads taller than everybody.
He don't even remember that I played.
Right.
I played on a softball
The
team.
fir-
He was the coach for 45. We got trophies and everything.
Not for the school 45,
Yes.
Fordham Bears.
No,
Or the summer league?
the summer league for 45. We played
Yeah.
baseball. Frankie was the coach.
All right, well, he didn't remember it.
You don't remember that?
No.
We got trophies and everything.
Yeah, I don't think I was on the team.
No, but we got trophies. We got trophies for Fordham Bears.
Yeah, we had the.
I don't know what happened to my trophy.
How about the shirts we
I
got?
think I dumped it.
I think I was on Fordham Bears 1 year or two maybe. Then I got like real competitive, and I wasn't no athlete, you know. But that first year was really good.
I loved it. It was good.
You know,
And
and
we
then
got the
again,
shirts and everything. It was cool.
right around the corner from the house.
Is this for me?
Yeah. There you go. That was another fun thing. The hanging around. I was trying to think when the boys club opened. 67, 68, seventh grade maybe.
I don't remember when. I know that as soon as they opened, we all got.
From wait, because we were watching the construction, and before they made the boys club, was that some kind of community garden?
I don't know what was over there. I don't remember.
Did maybe some of the people that had apartments, but they still wanted to grow tomatoes. But
I don't know
the
what it
statue of
was.
Columbus was in the
over there.
middle of that whole greenery thing.
Right. Then they
And
moved it.
They moved it to make the boys club.
Right.
And then we're watching when's it open. And when you're a kid, oh, what the?
Well, they had everything in there. Wood shop and everything. It was great. Then we went on all
And
trips.
We didn't have to be in the hallways anymore in the winter.
Yeah, we were going there every night. We were there.
It was open after school, 3 to 9.
We played pool. We went on trips with Mario.
And the people that worked there were just good people, cared about kids and
Yeah.
keeping them on a straight and the arrow. The guy Mario, it wasn't all right. Somebody came to us and says, you know, we have these clubs and you can organize a club,
We had the Cobras.
the Cobras.
Yep.
All of us were in it.
All of us.
And we used to have a meeting.
We had meetings, Cobra meetings.
Mario would,
Mario was the.
and then we would plan on
He took us on trips.
downtown, Statue of Liberty.
I got pictures of us that we went on trips. We went to the World's Fair.
Yeah.
It was that. Wait, when was the World's Fair?
64 and 65. Was it the World's Fair?
I got pictures of us at the
Oh, no,
World's
you know what? You're right, because they didn't knock the whole thing down. It was still there.
Right.
Flushing Meadow Park.
Right.
Statue of Liberty we went. Yankee games.
Yep.
Things we never would come up with on our own. And here's a guy, just his job to help kids and no bad will.
My cousin Richard was in that too, right?
Yeah, Googie.
Do you remember when we went to the Yankee game? He caught Tom Trush's home run.
Yeah. We always went to a Yankee game between the boys club and the 45.
Then we went
Tommy
on camping
G.
trips. Remember the overnights?
Yeah. We never even saw grass. Now we're camping.
No. We were in that cabin.
It was like we went twice, I think.
Yeah, we went. One
One
stayed
was
in
like
a tent.
A Lino was like a garage with no garage doors.
Right.
It was open.
Right.
And so much fun.
I know.
So much fun.
We wouldn't have done those things if it wasn't for the boys
You
club.
want to tell the story when we were driving up in the truck?
What happened? What?
We're driving. We're almost to see the cabin, and I farted.
I don't know. Everybody.
Before this van stopped. I almost wet my pants from laughing.
Look at the things he remembers.
That was me. I guess I couldn't wait to get to the cabin. I ripped one. And now they're all, you
I
guys
remember Larry was there. I remember
Yeah.
Gary was there. You, me,
Cal.
Cal.
This guy Cal, he was a hanger
You mean
around.
Leo's friend, California?
Yeah, California. We shortened
He's
it to
called
Cal.
Cal.
He got in the Cobras. Yeah, I don't think he had too many friends.
No,
Was Leo in the Cobras?
I don't think so. He was more into going into the park and hanging out with the,
Those guys.
the Perillos and all that.
Yeah, he was on his way.
Yeah, he was on his way to the big time with them.
The boys club did a lot for us. The girls used to come too.
Yeah.
They let the girls come in.
Yep.
And then, as everything goes, we stopped busting balls. They would take your card, remember?
Yep. You had a junior card, and then there was the cadet card.
It was like a big piece of
Well, yeah, it was a cardboard. You had to show it to get in.
Yeah, and then if you were bad, they'd take your card.
Do you remember the guy that was in the junior room where all the pool tables were? Do you remember the guy that was the counselor there?
Frank was at the door.
Do you remember the guy that was in the junior room? His name was Artie. Do you remember him?
Yeah, Artie.
This is a funny story. We were breaking his balls all the time, Artie. Always breaking his balls, right? So when I met my wife, I go to my wife's house. She lives on Tremont. And who's there? Artie. He's married to Jane's sister. You're the guy that breaks my balls in the boys club. I'm like, oh, shit.
Small world right there. Artie, yeah, we used to give it to him. And
Yeah,
Frank was at
everybody.
the door. And I think Frank had daughters, or a daughter, not quite our age, but I think she went to Mount Carmel. I don't remember.
There's a woman at the desk.
Right.
I forget her name. I can't remember her name.
And it was brand spanking
Yeah, the
new.
wood shop
gym,
there.
Wood shop. The gym was
Trampolines.
basketball.
It was just what's that place?
Free.
And then we had it was free, and we had 45 too.
Yeah,
There was always somewhere to go.
45 was a special thing.
With
you know.
Maureen and Linda.
Yeah.
We used to torment them too.
You know, we were going there so long. They used to let us drive their cars eventually. We turned 16, 17. We were still going there because we had like those sign-up jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think you were around for that.
No.
They had like urban, kids hanging around in
Oh,
the
really?
Bronx. You go there and you sign up every day. You got like a $50, $60 check every week.
Wow.
And Linda, we were driving by then. Some of us 17,
Right.
Oh, we're gonna go to McDonald's. They would say, "Oh, get us something," and we would take their car. They were the nicest ladies.
And we were running track with the 45.
You had the softball team, the track team. Then
Right.
with the boys club, you had the pool. Wasn't Googie
Pool,
and some
yeah,
guys in the pool team?
pool.
You go to other boys clubs and play.
Oh, I don't think I did that.
Pool.
Maybe a lot. Googie did that.
I think Googie did that. Yeah.
That place. Do you ever go by there?
No.
It's a mess.
The boys club.
Yeah, it's there, but I don't know what's going on over there. They moved the statue over to Adam's place.
Oh,
The
they
Columbus
moved
statue.
it again.
Where did they move it first time?
On the same
Toward
block
the
with
corner,
toward
right.
toward Roosevelt.
They moved it to Adam's place, that park over there.
Yeah, Adams Place Park.
They
Right.
put it over there,
Good.
and it's only a half a statue now. because they
Because
were,
it's only half a holiday now.
well, they were, yeah, and they were defacing it and everything.
Yeah.
You know, now they got rid of that and they got Juneteenth.
Right.
Don't even.
Columbus Day is now shared with
It's in October.
indigenous people. It's a half a holiday now. At least it's still a day off.
Who comes up with this shit?
Yeah, people have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
I think Trump wants to bring that back, Columbus Day.
they. And then again, I know, the more holidays, paid holidays, not good for the bosses. So it's a slippery slope.
My son don't care, he's getting a day off, so he get
Right.
good pay. So
Right, but if you look at it from the business owner, how many holidays you're
Yeah.
going to have? So that's an argument for another day,
Yeah,
especially for us. I mean, we're at the end of the line here. You know, we can remember Columbus Day and half of Columbus Day.
how much did we play? Well, since the name of this thing is kick the can, I mean, how much kick the can did we play?
All the time.
If we knew we were playing kick the can, we went around the neighborhood looking for cans.
And what stopped the game was when the cans became aluminum. They
They were
changed
so
from
cheap.
a beautiful can,
The best cans were the
Yoo-hoo,
Yoo-hoo cans.
nice and solid. You could play all day with those. No
They
matter
were-
how hard you kicked it,
That thing never dented.
you could play with it. And
That was the best thing. Kick the can.
do you remember the time Fasano from the school?
We got him stuck in the middle for
He wanted
the
to
whole
hang.
night.
Now, some guys, they wanted to hang out on Hoffman Street.
Yeah.
So he comes.
He wants to play kick the can.
We're playing kick the can. He was in the middle. It was light out when
All
he got
night.
there. We ended the game. It was dark out.
He's still in the middle.
Never came back. I wonder if he's listening to the podcast.
Remember that guy? I feel bad now. That, you know, now that I'm older. Remember Johnny Rodriguez?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of feel bad now because
Yeah,
it's sort of like we were bullying the kid.
Yeah, we were. But you know, in school, they watched us in school about being hard
Yeah.
on other kids.
We were.
And it was unfortunate for Johnny Rodriguez. He had to walk the
He had
same
to
way
walk
we
by
walked.
Hoffman Street.
And walk, and he would run into me, you, Larry, and Louie
Right.
on the way. For
Right.
one block, you know, we would block them
I know.
or whatever.
I mean, you think about it then, it was like we were having fun. But now
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
about
it
it,
was-
it's like,
right. Bullying is a real thing, you know. That
Yeah.
was 60s bullying. They really stepped
yeah,
up
that
their
was
game
60s
now,
bullying.
you know.
Now what do they do? They cyberbully you or something?
Yeah, and Johnny Rodriguez, his mom would come with him once in a
Yeah.
while, so it wasn't always. And she would complain.
Yeah.
Excuse me. She would complain to Mrs. G, and you know, and then I remember one time the mother came in, and they brought her up to the class to point out the kids
Oh,
that were bothering Johnny.
yeah. The mother came?
So they pick out Louis Chacho. Remember Louis Chacho? He doesn't even live near us.
Who's this?
Chacho was his name. Louis Chacho. He had blue eyes. We got to look him up.
I don't remember him.
Turns out he doesn't even walk that way. So they didn't. Nobody got in trouble.
Right.
You know, which is one of the rare things. But that was at the school when we started to feel our oats in Mount Carmel. We really started to be.
Long call.
If you could earn a living from busting balls, we were getting salaries.
We were already ready for Mount Carmel.
Right.
We were already breaking balls.
You had, if you think back, so we had the girls up to fourth grade.
Right.
That was still fourth grade. You're 9, 10 years old.
Right.
And the girls are there. You're not really
Yeah, there's two
being
sides. One blind side.
right. You're not being a clown in fourth grade.
Right.
Then you start. I don't know. I think we were a little
Went all boys.
in fifth grade.
Fifth grade. Went all boys.
But from fourth grade, we started to go into the boys' department. We're big. We're this. But everybody was a little nervous because they used to, in the boys' department, you were getting disciplined.
Don't I know it?
You know.
What a dag it, man.
So when we first got there, fifth grade, we had good teachers. I thought we had
I
really
thought
good
so.
teachers, and we really weren't feeling our oats in ball busting because
Until the sixth grade.
these teachers
That's it.
would never let you get away with it. They were good teachers and not. They tried to teach, and we were more respectful. Plus, we were scared. First time in the boys' department. But
We had Brother Raymond for the 6th grade. I don't know if you remember that.
no,
Who did
we
we have?
had
Brother Herbert?
no. I know you.
Not Brother John. Not yet.
Brother John Shep. No, we had Brother John Shepherd at the beginning of 6th grade. He
and
was
then he
bad
and we
news,
liked him, I think.
but he was disciplined. He wore that cape. Oh,
But
so-
then when he told us you're getting a new teacher.
right. Brother August was the principal. He left.
Right.
Brother John Shepherd went down to become the principal. It was
Right.
around
I
Halloween.
remember that. Okay.
And he was talking up, you're getting this teacher, Brother John DeLusa.
We were like disappointed.
from Reform School. You guys are in trouble.
Oh my God.
It took one day
One day.
to figure out what
we had. Now it got to the point you don't want to go. You don't want to stay home. You want to go
Stay
to school
home.
every day.
I tell you, my mother had this rule. If you have fever, you need to stay home a whole 24 hours without fever.
No.
Come on. I feel like I missed so much because you get
For
sick.
one day you missed out a lot.
You know, but the big stories with Brother John, and he came in, and what did he give us? We had like an English workbook, and we had to do one sheet a day.
Right.
After the first week, the whole
book was done because he put the assignment on the board.
yeah, and then somebody did it, so the whole book was done. So now no homework.
We had no homework because we did
for
it already in
English,
class.
all done. So now nobody's paying attention. He tried to, and now he had a Boston accent, right? And the
you know his famous word, right?
Wait, let me guess. Wait, it's like a quiz, Matt. This is a little quiz. A word to the wise is
The funny thing about that was we didn't plan nothing.
nothing.
It was not planned. He just said the word to us, and the entire class yelled, "It's sufficient!"
Right.
I mean,
Not
it's not
planned.
like we said to each other, like, when he says that,
Yeah.
he just,
So I want you to tell the story. I'm going to tell one.
okay.
I'm going to tell the
Some of your favorite stories of Brother John?
my favorite one, and I know which one yours is. So you go first with the Brother John story.
One of my favorites is he would send 2 rows of students to the bathroom. And he would teach 2 rows. So we all be in the bathroom, and the door was closed.
Right.
We would be lined up along the wall, the whole 2 rows.
Right. So that's
And while
about
he's teaching,
that's about 14 kids.
lined up
boys.
in the wall, one at a time.
Slam the door. Open. Slam.
While he's
Open,
teaching.
slam. While he's
I don't know if it was funny being on the outside or being on the
It's
inside.
funny watching it. It was funny watching it. The whole class, I could still almost my cheeks get.
I was
My
I was
cheeks
literally
hurt.
crying because
And what's great about that, it didn't just happen one time. It happened for weeks and weeks till the brother
and
across the hall.
that was another thing that wasn't
Because
planned.
he would either send us to the bathroom, or when we came back from recess, half the class would go in, the other half go to the bathroom, one at a time, slam the door. Then Brother William D'Amato was across the hall.
Oh.
He saw it. He came out of his room swinging. He caught a few guys in the head, in the jaw.
We went on for a long time
Yeah,
before
yeah.
they caught us.
Because every day you couldn't wait.
Because
You-
all the classrooms' doors were closed.
Right,
So they
right.
didn't know what was going on.
right.
So it was funny being in the hall, but it was funny being inside. You just see it.
So I got 2 things
Oh, yeah.
that are almost related with Brother John. Now, his famous thing was our class was class 6-2. So up in the corner of the blackboard, he had class 6.
But I know where you're going.
And he would say, we start acting up, not paying attention, loud, spitballs, whatever we were doing.
Yep.
Now calm down, he would say. Excuse me, my
Calm
boy.
down.
Now let's just calm down here. You better calm down because you know what's going to happen. If I put this little 2 up here near the 6, You'll stay till 4.
Yeah, he did it. Like, you'll stay till 4.
Right, like that, right. Serious.
And I don't mean maybe.
No, I don't mean maybe.
I think it was Larry to put the good and plenty there.
You think?
I think Larry's the one that did the good and plenty.
So now we know the good and plenty is on the chalk rail. So now we're extra loud.
Because we want him to write the
So now, if I put the little 2 is rigmarole,
Yes.
if I put the little 2, you'll stay till 4. So we're going crazy. He picks up the piece of good and
crazy
plenty.
to make him do it.
Yeah. He picks up the piece of good and plenty. Now we're busted. He tries to write the little 2. It's not writing. It's not writing. He's trying. He turns around at the top of his lungs. He goes, "You'll stay till 4."
No, he went like this. Who's the wise guy? And then it was funny because I remember one day we had him slapping everybody in the class. He was slapping one guy. I didn't do it. Samili did it. Then he run over him. And every time he slapped somebody, we go, ooh.
Right.
We used to count the oohs.
Yeah, ooh. Like when we got shots.
When we got slapped. He used to slap everybody.
But he didn't paddle, Brother John.
No, he slapped.
But some of the other teachers would give the paddle,
I remember.
But Brother John, he
was a slapper.
So at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, did they stop selling good and plenty in the candy store? So who do we got
Those
fucked?
big jawbreakers. He's bouncing down the.
Yeah. No, we used to run them on the. I think that's Brother Gilbert's class. We would run the good and plenty.
Dandy.
Yeah, in Dandy's class. The jawbreakers, the guys that were sat on the rail over there at the end of the row, would put them on the chalk rail. They would fit right in, and then swap them, and they would go, "Ooh," and then the whole class would hear it. And then when it would hit, everybody starts screaming. So Brother Gilbert goes, this is day in, day out. Brother Gilbert goes, who's ever got? No, I got. So we had one teacher from Boston, and Brother Gilbert was from Italy. Who's ever got the jawbreakers better come up and put them in the garbage can. The whole fucking class was up there putting them in the garbage can. And remember Jake DeGaglia?
Who?
John DeGaglia.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, he became Jake. The guy name change. Everybody's throwing the jawbreakers in the garbage can. Jake is taking them out. And I think another thing, no more jawbreakers in the bookstore.
Everything we were using.
They took it away because we busted balls.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to put a picture up of those delicious pretzels.
Who?
The pretzels we used to get at the bookstore.
Oh, my God.
I had found them a few years ago in Jersey.
Yeah, they're in Jersey.
It's called Philly pretzels or something.
Yeah, me and my brother went there. My brother bought 40 of them. Brought them home, put them in my freezer. And they're exact pretzels. They were the best.
So I have a picture.
They were stuck.
5 of them stuck. I have a picture from when they were in Jersey. I'm going to put it up for that episode, because we were talking about
those pretzels, man.
And Brother John, it was the greatest year of...
I remember when he yelled, "Quiet!" And the clock popped out of the wall. It was hanging by the wires.
Yeah. at a perfect time. And then talking about the clocks, even with Brother Gilbert, Danny, big-time ball buster, Danny Calaro, with Brother Gilbert. Yeah.
Yeah.
He, you remember we used to steal his book bag? Danny would be like paying attention, and the guy behind him would slide his book bag, then pass it to the next guy. Then Brother Gilbert would say, "Oh, pull out your geography book." Danny would look down, no book bag. And he would throw a tantrum in the class, stand up, yelling, "Oh, where's my book bag?" Brother Gilbert goes, "Colado, you gotta control yourself." "Brother Gilbert, they stole my book bag." "Colado, you better keep your book bag near you, otherwise you're gonna get detention." Okay.
Oh, my
Next
God.
day, Danny brings in the lock and the chain.
No, but the one person was Brother John. I mean, he was a classic. I remember the way he slapped everybody, the oohing. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I started to say before about I don't know which, because not all the brothers gave the paddling.
no,
But
Brother John didn't.
When the teacher pulled the paddle back, the whole class would go, And then when he brought it forward, everybody would start screaming. So the teacher would get all banged up. He tried to bring it back the whole. And another thing, like you said, we didn't go, okay, when he pulls the paddle back, we're going to go, ooh. We just did it. Not rehearsed, not scripted. And he would try to rush it, get all flustered. He would try to rush the shot. He's hitting the guy in the back of the legs.
I don't know how he got away with all this shit. He used to put each other in the faces. Sit up! And he used to make that face. I can still see that face.
What did we call them? New Country Cornflakes?
Oh, yeah, the one with the
the cereal box.
So you look like that guy. He did. Then we had a party there, and he's going, the party's over. And everybody's throwing the candy at him. He's over there, the party's over.
Nobody got in trouble or nothing.
I think we wanted to stay till 4.
Yeah, more fun. Do you remember?
We had the homework. It was already done.
We had that. A few years ago, we had the 50th dinner, and Tina Rocco, or Rocco with Tina, whatever his name was, he came.
Well,
Tina Rocco.
I think. You mean in
Mario's? Yeah,
right.
A few years ago, he came.
Right.
I had seen him right here in Tuckahoe at the pizza shop.
A lot of people didn't come.
Yeah.
Like Dom Adavazio. I even sent him a message on Facebook. I was surprised he didn't come.
Did he say no? He responded.
He didn't respond.
Not people move on,
That's what I try to tell my brothers. Is sometimes people don't want to be found.
I see the sister is on Facebook. She was nice.
Who?
Tony and Advazio, Dom's younger sister. You remember her?
Barely.
She's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Tony.
She's a lot older. The picture that's up there. That's his sister?
Yeah, that's his sister.
But he's not under Adavazio on Facebook. He's under Vazio.
Yeah. He was...
he's still with the cars,
Yeah. He was...
yeah.
He had hands of gold when it came to the car.
He had the go-karts.
He let me drive that go-kart.
Yeah, we all did. He took it to 45. We all drove the go-kart.
One time we went with his father to Caldor's up on Central Avenue. They were closed on Sundays.
Right. Drove it around.
Why was I ever going to drive anything at friggin' Hoffman Street? Nobody... It was so great, I'll never forget that.
At 45.
Yeah.
He should take it at 45.
Yeah.
Everybody would take a turn.
And it would always break, and then he'd have to drag it home,
Yeah, he was good with that.
Yeah, and I think he probably made a living with motors and cars, boats. Who knows? He was a good mechanic.
Yeah, he was.
Hopefully.
I don't know what he's doing. The last time I seen him was when I was working for Wonder Bread, and he was doing newspapers or something down in Peekskill or Montrose, somewhere over there.
Yeah, Dom Adavazio.
That was the last time I seen him.
So Tina Rocco, I remember a funny story. I think it was Brother Gilbert also. He was a subtle ball breaker. So he got in trouble in the class. He's coming. Brother Gilbert goes to him. Tina, I want to see your parents. Takes out his wallet, shows a picture of his parents to Brother Gilbert. Who does that? Any other brother, the guy would just punch them right in the face. Brother Daggett would have. He would have tuned them up. Because in one of the episodes, I go into depth about Brother Daggett, the way he sat behind us and everything.
Yeah.
And when I was in the Marine, I'm trying to figure out what war was he in. When was he in the Marines?
He used to get those shots.
He always had a new paddle.
Oh my God!
And he was giving shots. I mean, by the time we got to 7th grade
in
school, yeah. And then plus, if you look at some of the kids that are older than us, I think they had Brother Daggett too.
Yeah.
And he was just.
Do you know what happened to him?
He married Schellenbach's
sister.
I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah.
You could find out a lot about a lot of different things.
Yeah, he had those red cheeks, like.
Yeah, like he was hitting the turpentine.
Probably.
How we doing, Matt?
50 minutes.
50. He. No, I want to see. I want to try it. I got a target date here on time.
Oh, you're timing everything, right?
Yeah, we try. I try to get engaged for it. Brother Daggett, so he married Schellenbach's sister.
Right.
But like if you could Google somebody, you're gonna think I'm crazy. Yesterday, do you remember Dom the priest, Dom Lemedico?
Dom Domenico. Dom the priest. I don't
He was in a
remember.
boys' club with us.
I don't remember him.
Soft-spoken guy,
I can't remember him.
good person. He lived on Hoffman between 187 and 188.
187, 188.
Dom Lemedico. The reason why he got the name Dom the priest, he didn't go to Mount Carmel, but I think he went to St. Martin's, or he was going to go to Cathedral High School, where it was like a pre-seminary school.
Right.
So naturally, he's going to go to the seminary school. His nickname now is Dom the priest, and we call him. So I Googled him yesterday.
You did?
Yeah. And all I could find out, I found out a picture on eBay
Right.
of him with Mickey Mantle.
Really?
And I didn't find an obituary, so that means he's probably alive.
Wow.
And
I don't remember him. I don't know why I don't
He
remember him.
would he didn't become a priest, but you know some people are just not haters. They're not haters. They're just not prejudiced. And not because it's a cool thing. They're just not prejudiced. They embrace people. And he would have had the good mentality maybe to be a priest,
Right.
But he would go through the neighborhood. He started to party, but he wasn't a drug addict or anything like
Right.
that. He kept to himself. He didn't play sports. I was so
Did
curious.
Was he around with us? I
No,
don't
in
remember.
passing. Like, if we were walking down 187, maybe going to get a slice at Mike's, you might run into Dom the priest. He never hung out on Hoffman, but you would bump into him a lot. He didn't really hang out.
You remember Miguel?
Yeah, yeah.
He was singing in the alleyways
Right.
with the guitar or the ukulele, and people would throw money down to him. I haven't seen that guy in 25 years. I was on out there, you getting some meat and stuff. The guy recognized me. He remembered me.
Yeah,
25 years, I haven't seen that guy.
yeah. Give him a quarter.
I bought him what do you call it? Coffee and a Danish. But
He's still
remembered me.
around.
It's amazing.
He's still around.
No, he moved. He's not in the neighborhood anymore.
Somebody
From what I heard, he
saw
moved to
him-
Mayapack.
Really?
Yeah. I'm saying, why would he move there? He could stay there. He was getting
Right.
free stuff from everybody.
It's hard to grub money when you're walking the streets of Mayapack.
God.
You're gonna go hungry. But I
Oh
guess
my-
he might have had. He was like challenged mentally, of course, but
But
maybe
you see, he survived.
his parents were just enough to, But the problem is, as you get older, then your parents,
Remember Frank's Candy Store?
yeah.
That's where I got my camera.
Before it was Frank's, it was Mabelli's. She lived in my building.
Frank Mealy.
Frank Millie. Before it was Frank's, the candy store was Mambelli. They
Yeah.
lived in my building.
Oh, Mary. That was
That-
my mother. That was my mother's friend, Mary
And
Mealy. She was a school teacher.
That's the lady that started the Pals. I'll let you tell the story.
Well, the pals. We sit in the hall. It just so happened to be me, you, Anthony, and Larry.
Right.
I think it was a hot day or something.
Yeah, just
It was cool in the
raining.
hallways.
Yeah.
And she comes walking in, and she says, "What's the matter, guys? Got nothing to do?" We said, "No, not really." She goes, "I did why don't you start a singing group?" And we go, and I don't know who said, "What can we name it?" And she came out with the Pals. I said, "Pals?" She goes, "Yeah, you were all pals. P for Paulie, A for Anthony, L for Larry, F for Steven." That was like, holy shit. Every day we're up in your apartment, practicing with brooms and
Yeah,
Anthony
yeah.
with the coffee can.
He had drumsticks, Anthony, and he had that little pad. It was like a
Right.
And then we had the Victrola going,
Yeah, and we would sing, or we would play like
like we were in the band.
yeah, Dave Clark 5,
Right.
The Four Seasons.
Yeah. 4 Seasons, right.
Yeah. I was like,
Candy
I joke
Girl.
with Larry all the time, like, we're going to have a Pals reunion.
We're gonna sing
Going
a
on
song.
A reunion
Good
tour.
idea.
A reunion tour.
I'll get the pals on the podcast.
We'll have a reunion tour.
Yeah, we'll put the Dave Clark 5 on the Victrola, and we'll make believe we're singing. We'll go viral, Matt. We'll go.
I get a good year with that.
Kept us out of trouble.
Every day. I
was
remember
like-
being in your apartment.
And then we would say, Should we practice the? Should we
Practicing, and then we were talking about wearing bell bottoms and boots. And,
Yeah. No.
You know, it was like we were getting into it.
Well, you make a good point. Another thing I like to talk about is the fashion of the day,
The what?
the fashion of the time.
Yeah.
We were not.
Right.
We wore the same clothes. We went to Bob Koff's or same jacket.
Bob Costa, what else? What's that other store?
The Army Navy store was Bob Koff's.
Bob
And there
Costa.
was another
Kingsley.
place, Kingsley.
Yeah.
So, I think we wore dungarees, high top sneakers, Keds or Cons.
Right.
And then the jacket, I'm going to put, for this episode, I'm putting that picture up that you sent me. I'm on you. You give me a piggyback ride?
Oh,
We got the same jacket on.
me and you.
Yeah.
Larry, I got the picture of Larry. He was also with us that day, but he was wearing a black jacket. It's not that wrinkled one. It was like a raincoat
Yeah.
type of jacket.
But the jacket that we had, I'm gonna put it up. It's like had different
the V,
colors.
yeah. And that picture in front of the car, that's my father's car, that 63 Chevy Impala.
Father always had the car every 2 years or every year.
Only because he hit the number. He hit the number and he bought a car.
So for us, it was like, well, that was a big thing to have a car because nobody. Your father was like the only guy that
Well,
Yeah.
Zekosh's father had a car too.
he did.
Yeah. Then there was that other guy. He had that car, looked like windows were on the side too. It was a back window, and then it went to the side. I forget, he lived in the middle building. I forget his name.
Etzel.
I don't know, but I know my brother broke his window, and my father had to pay for it with a ball or something.
Yeah.
I forget. A lot of people I forget.
Right. There was in your building too.
Apartment 3 was Cookie. Remember that woman, Cookie?
Yeah.
She was married to that guy, Joe.
Senora was in one, and then
Apartment 2 is Mary or something, that crazy woman. My grandmother was in Apartment 4.
right.
But that-
straight in.
that-
Ayuta, your grandmother.
She got dementia.
Yeah.
Apartment 5 was just the Kirchners. Do you remember that? The smell?
Now I remember.
The Kirchners.
Yeah.
The mother lived in apartment 5, and the daughter lived in apartment 14. The smell.
Right next to you.
Yep.
14. What apartment did Medias live in? 9?
Apartment 9.
I think I could see them from across my window.
Right.
Part of their apartment.
Right, because they were apartment 9.
Right. Yeah.
And then,
that was a big
Apartment
apartment.
7 was Robert's grandmother.
Right. And Randy was 8. Apartment 8?
Randy was on the
Up
4th
on-
floor. He was apartment 16.
Right. He was related to
Randy
Medias
and
too.
his father, Roy.
Santa Rock.
Roy the
Right.
Congo toy.
Yeah. But he was in the club that you called him Santa Rock. That might have been their last name. Randy was a beauty.
And there was Lucy, his wife, Lucille.
Lucille. Yeah.
There was
That
a lot
was
of beauties in
Roy's.
those buildings. A lot. Pasadena lady, she lived in, remember Pasadena lady?
Yeah.
Little
No.
old lady from Pasadena, go
Another-
Granny, go.
Another song. Another slow walker.
Yep, there was a lot of old people in the buildings.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, they're probably our age.
The third building, we had Lizard Lady.
Lizard Lady. Leo.
Leo.
Big Paulie. He was scary.
Oh.
He was related to Medias too, right?
Yeah, he was
Big
raised in
Paulie.
Medias. Yep.
Yeah, he was a scary guy. But he was nice to us. Nobody approached him.
All the kids were, 3 buildings. There was like so many of us. Remember those two? I forget. I don't know if his name was Jeannie, and those kids. I forget their names. They lived in your building. They weren't around long. They left. I forget their names.
Close to age, close in our age.
I can't remember their names. I just remember these kids that lived in the building. Remember that guy Massimo?
Yeah. No,
He used to bend his thumb.
yeah, Massimo.
Big fucking deal. What was the best thing at night when the whip used to come?
On the truck.
The whip or the half moon?
Yeah.
10 cents you got on the whip.
Yeah. now you're really going. How about the good humor man, Israel?
Israel. He used to come with that bike
Yeah.
and that big box.
Right.
We break his balls
Wait,
too. We were breaking it.
Right.
Israel,
Right, right.
Mr. Softy. We had them all coming there.
He used to come, tons of kids. He would always come, at dinner time. Israel, come on,
He
Israel.
had that shit coming out of his side of his mouth and shit.
Spadach.
The bagashes.
My gosh.
I forgot.
How many people lived
I
there?
forgot about the bagashes.
Yeah, because we used to hang out on the landing, especially me and Larry, and sometimes you too. We would hang out right over there, and they would come out. We would already start laughing because we had a nickname for them.
The bagashes.
They were like two brothers. They looked the same. What's the deal? Which one is that? Magash number 1 or Magash number 2?
Oh my goodness.
But they went to work, I guess, and they were pretty straightforward.
There's so many things.
Magash.
Could probably go on and on and on, because they start coming into your head, the things.
Well, we touched on it before.
Run now.
We touched on it before. Eating. So we didn't go far. The places we
Yeah,
used
because
to
you had
go
the
to
Greek
eat.
on the corner,
60 cents, hamburger, french fries.
White Castle.
Wait, go back to the Greek.
Yeah.
He made the soda with the
Oh, man.
syrup, 60 cents. That
Yeah.
was Saturday.
Oh.
White Castle was whenever.
Saturday, you had the coupon.
A White Castle.
You stick the White Castle coupon out of the newspaper.
Right.
5 burgers for 25 cents.
Yeah.
And it was like a diner in there. You walked in, it was like counters and
Yeah,
everything.
you sit there,
Yeah.
and then you would have your burgers on a dish.
Don't forget we used to go to Cousins, buy all those crazy gadgets.
Right. Novelty toys.
Yeah, novelty.
And records. Well,
I
we had
remember
that
this-
little record shop in the neighborhood, too.
There was Morning Breeze, this stuff they sold.
Right.
Morning Breeze.
Right.
You pour that stuff out, it stunk. Clear out a whole building with that
You
stuff.
had the plastic,
Throw
look plastic throw and plastic dog shit.
And plastic ice cream.
And you would put it on the block, and then poor Roadrunner couldn't walk as it is. They got to go around the fake dog shit.
We didn't leave nobody alone, did we?
Relentless.
Don't forget we had Mr. Richie Masterpietro. Was
Yeah. And he, if we ever do some kind of a lunch or a dinner,
he has to be there.
I hope he's listening. I hope he get the word about the podcast.
He worked at Fordham U for, I don't know if he retired already.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he was retiring.
Yeah.
Small world kind of thing. His wife worked at one of the Catholic schools in the Bronx,
Right.
and my company did the service. It was one of the only places they still had nuns living, so they had to keep the heat on, the air conditioning, and Richie's wife worked either in the school or something
Right.
with the convent, and my friend from work. But hey, my friend Paulie was from Hoffman Street, but I know Frankie Pagnotta said that Richie should be included if we ever get another dinner together. But we could try to do something like around somebody's birthday or.
Did you get tuition in Mount Carmel? There was no tuition.
$2.
No, there was no tuition. One day they come in with this envelope. Said, bring us home to your parents. And we said, what is this? This is going to be a $5 tuition. I brought that home to my father. He goes, what, are you kidding me? $5 for tuition?
Yeah.
If you've seen it now.
Well, because they didn't have, they had brothers and nuns who just worked for their food. They didn't have to, but they started with the tuitions. I remember. Did you get hot lunch, or you took your
Lunch, the best. I thought that was the best place for lunch, the cafeteria.
every day?
Hot, free lunch.
And I got it for free.
So did I.
You
went down to the cafeteria. It was like you didn't know what was on the menu, but you got hot free
My
lunch.
mother went to. I think I was like a fussy, finicky eater. But after my father died, my mother went. My mother had to go to work. She couldn't get a sandwich for me. She
free
went
lunch.
to Bishop Pericone. I had free lunch, and it was great. Even the bread and butter was delicious.
Couldn't wait to get down there. You go in there with your tray. You had all this free food. It was amazing.
We would get meatloaf, hot dogs, Chinese food.
Yep. Then they used to give out those cans. All right, get these. You had to collect quarters for
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then you had to bring them back.
Right. in the bookstore they would sell. You were like those marshmallow cups
Oh, mallow cups. You know how many free candies I got?
with
Because
the
they had the coin on the bottom.
the cardboard thing. And
Coin.
nobody collected them but you. So you took.
$5. All you had to do was collect $5.
We all gave you the coins,
I
and then
mailed
your
them out.
mom.
I was getting
yeah.
free candy like crazy.
So we'll wrap up episode 1. We're here with Stephen Albano, and we'll take a little blow, a little bathroom run, and we'll pick it back up. See you in a bit.